They say that when a building is about to collapse, it makes a sound. A groan of steel, a pop of concrete. You only hear it if you are listening. If you are distracted, the roof comes down on your head without warning. My name is Elias Thorne. For 45 years, I was a master contractor. I built half the skyline of this city. I know how to spot a crack in a foundation. I know how to spot rot in the wood. But like a fool, I didn't see the rot in my own bloodline until it almost buried me. I am 72 years old. I am not frail. I still walk 3 miles every morning. I still read the financial news without glasses. But according to my son, Julian, and his wife, Clara, I am a ticking time bomb of dementia. It started 6 months ago. Small things. I would put my keys on the hook by the door, just like I have for 30 years. An hour later, they would be gone. Julian would find them in the refrigerator. "Dad," he would say, his voice dripping with fake pity. "You put them next to the milk again. Are you okay?" I would stare at the keys, my heart hammering. I remembered hanging them up. I knew I hung them up. But Julian was so convincing. Clara would stand behind him, shaking her head with a sad smile. "Maybe we should make an appointment with Dr. Elias. Just to be safe." Then came the stove incidents. I pride myself on my cooking. One evening, I made a stew. I turned the gas off. I wiped the counter. I went to the living room to read. 20 minutes later, the smoke alarm was screaming. I ran into the kitchen. The gas was on high, the pot was burning black smoke. "Oh my God, Dad!" Julian shouted, running in with a towel. "You're going to burn the house down. This is the 3rd time this week." I stood there, shaking. I checked the knob. It was turned all the way to the right. But my hand remembered turning it left. My muscle memory knew I had turned it off. Was I losing my mind? That is the terrifying thing about doubt. Once it gets in, it spreads like mold. Julian and Clara moved into my estate, temporarily, to look after me. My estate is not just a house. It is a sprawling property on the cliffs, valued at over $4 million. I built it with my own hands. Every beam, every stone. It was supposed to be their inheritance one day. But one day wasn't fast enough for them. They took me to their doctor, a man named Dr. Elias. He didn't look me in the eye. He asked me questions, but he looked at Julian for the answers. He prescribed me pills. "For anxiety and cognitive support," he said. I took the pills. And that is when the fog rolled in. For 2 months, I was a zombie. I slept 14 hours a day. My hands shook. I couldn't finish sentences. I would wake up in rooms I didn't remember entering. I heard Julian on the phone one afternoon, his voice muffled through the wall. "He's almost there. The competency hearing is next month." Yeah, total control of the assets. The old man doesn't even know what day it is. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. My body felt heavy, like it was filled with lead. But that sentence cut through the fog. Competency hearing. Total control. Adrenaline is a powerful thing. It can wake up a dying man. I waited until the house was silent. It was 3 a.m. I dragged myself out of bed. My legs were weak, but my mind was waking up. I went to the bathroom and found the pill bottle. Lorazepam. A heavy sedative. But the label was peeled back slightly. Underneath, there was another sticker. A much higher dose than what was written on the front. They weren't treating me. They were drugging me. I didn't flush the pills. That's what a rookie would do. I needed them to think their plan was working. I replaced the pills with simple vitamin tablets I had in the back of the cabinet. They looked identical, small and white. For the next week, I played the performance of a lifetime. I pretended to stumble. I pretended to forget my own name. I drooled a little when I sat at the dinner table. I watched Julian and Clara exchange excited glances. They were celebrating my decline. But every night, when they were asleep, the old Elias Thorne came back to life. I needed help. I couldn't use the house phone, they monitored it. I couldn't use my cell phone, they checked the logs. So, I used the one thing they ignored. The old ham radio in my workshop in the garage. They thought it was just dusty junk. I contacted an old friend, Marcus. Marcus isn't a contractor. He is a retired forensic accountant who used to work for the district attorney. We met at the park the next day. I told Julian I was going to feed the ducks. He laughed and said, "Don't get lost, Dad. I put a tracker in your jacket." I found the tracker. It was sewn into the lining. I cut it out and left the jacket on a bench near the pond. Then I walked to the far side of the park to meet Marcus in his car. When I showed Marcus the pill bottle and told him about the hearing, his face went dark. "This is attempted murder, Elias. Or at least, heavy abuse. We go to the police now." "No," I said. My voice was steady for the first time in months. "If we go to the police now, it's my word against theirs. They have a doctor saying I'm senile. They have months of accidents documented. They'll say I'm paranoid. I need undeniable proof. I need to catch them digging their own grave." Marcus smiled. "What do you need?" "I need eyes inside the house. And I need to know where the money is going." Over the next 3 weeks, the house became a trap. But not for me. While Julian and Clara were out spending my money on caretaker expenses, Marcus and I installed micro cameras. I put them in the smoke detectors. I put one in the frame of the painting in the hallway. I put one behind the vent in the kitchen. The footage we got was sickening. I watched Clara turn the gas stove back on after I left the room. I watched Julian take my keys from the hook and hide them in the trash can. I watched them sitting at my dining table, drinking my expensive wine, laughing. "The lawyer says once he signs the power of attorney next Friday, we can list the house immediately," Julian said on the recording. "I already have a buyer from China. Cash offer. We dump the old man in that facility in Nevada and we are free." "What if he fights it?" Clara asked. "Look at him," Julian sneered. "He can't even hold a spoon without shaking. He's finished. He built this empire, and now we're going to cash it out." The facility in Nevada they mentioned wasn't a luxury retirement home. Marcus looked it up. It was a state-run holding center for indigent patients with severe mental issues. It was a warehouse for the forgotten. They weren't just stealing my money, they were throwing me into hell to die alone. The date was set. My 73rd birthday party. They decided to combine the birthday celebration with the announcement. They had invited all my old business partners, the city council members, friends from the club. It was a power move. They wanted witnesses to see me frail and confused, so when the legal paperwork was filed the next day, everyone would say, "Yes, poor Elias, he really needed the help." The morning of the party, I woke up and stared at myself in the mirror. I shaved the gray stubble. I stood up straight. I put on my best suit, the charcoal Italian silk one that Julian tried to hide in the back of the closet. When I walked downstairs, Clara gasped. "Dad? You're dressed. It's my birthday, isn't it?" I said, making my voice sound a little wavering, just enough to keep them confident. I wanted to look nice for the guests. Julian patted my shoulder. "You look great, Pops. Listen, later on, I'm going to have you sign a little birthday card, okay? Just a formality for the party planner." "Of course, son," I smiled. "Whatever you say." The party was lavish. Caterers were serving champagne. A jazz band was playing. My house was filled with people I had known for decades. They looked at me with pity. Julian had done his work well. He had whispered in everyone's ear that I was gone. At 8 p.m., Julian tapped a spoon against his glass. The music stopped. "Thank you all for coming," Julian began, standing on the raised platform in the ballroom. He put his arm around Clara. "This is a bittersweet night. We are celebrating my father, Elias, a legend in this city. But as many of you know, Dad has been struggling lately. His health, his mind, it's not what it used to be." He paused for effect, looking down at the floor sadly. "It has become unsafe for him to live here alone. So, with heavy hearts, Clara and I have decided to take full legal guardianship of Elias. We are moving him to a specialized facility where he can get the care he needs. And we will be managing his estate to ensure his legacy is protected." He pulled a document out of his jacket pocket. The power of attorney. "Dad," he beckoned to me. "Come up here. Let's sign this in front of your friends, so everyone knows you're being taken care of." The room was silent. I stood up. I didn't use my cane. I walked to the platform. My steps were heavy, solid. The walk of a man who built skyscrapers. I climbed the stairs and stood next to the microphone. I looked at the document. Then I looked at the crowd. "Julian," I said. My voice wasn't wavering anymore. It was deep and clear, the voice that used to command 200 construction workers on a job site. "You forgot to mention one thing." Julian looked confused. "Dad? Just sign the paper." "You forgot to mention the stove," I said. "What? Dad, you're confused." I reached into my pocket and pulled out a small remote control. "You told everyone I left the stove on. You told everyone I lost my keys. You told everyone I was sick." I pressed the button. A large projection screen dropped down behind us, covering the bay window. The guests gasped. The projector hummed to life. The video started. It was crystal clear. Asterisk timestamp, October 14th. Asterisk the video showed me leaving the kitchen. Seconds later, Clara walks in. She looks around, giggles, and turns the gas knob on the stove all the way up. She fans the flames to make sure they catch the pot. The crowd murmured. Clara turned pale. "What is this?" she hissed. The video changed. Timestamp, November 2nd. Julian standing in the hallway. He takes my keys from the hook. He walks to the trash can and buries them under coffee grounds. He turns to the camera, my hidden camera, and smirks, unaware he is being watched. "Dad, turn it off." Julian lunged for the remote, but I sidestepped him. I might be 73, but I still box on weekends. I shoved him back hard. He stumbled and fell. "Stay down," I commanded. The video changed again. This was the audio recording from the bedroom. Julian's voice boomed through the speakers. "We dumped the old man in that facility in Nevada and we are free. He's finished." The room was deadly silent. The pity in the guest's eyes had vanished, replaced by shock and disgust. "You drugged me," I said, speaking into the microphone, addressing the whole room. "For 3 months, you switched my heart medication with heavy sedatives. You tried to destroy my mind so you could steal the house I built with these hands." I held up my hands. They were steady as a rock. "I am not senile, Julian. I am not confused. I am the man who taught you how to walk, and today, I am the man who is going to watch you walk away in handcuffs." The back doors of the ballroom opened. Marcus walked in. Behind him were 3 police officers and the district attorney himself, who had been a personal friend of mine for 20 years. "Julian Thorne, Clara Thorne," the lead officer said, stepping onto the platform. "You are under arrest for elder abuse, fraud, conspiracy to commit theft, and poisoning." "No. It's a misunderstanding." Clara shrieked as the handcuffs clicked onto her wrists. "He's crazy. The video is fake." Julian didn't say a word. He looked at me. His eyes were wide, terrified. He looked like the little boy who used to break windows playing baseball, waiting for me to fix it. But I wasn't going to fix this. "Why, Dad?" he whispered as the officer pulled him up. "Because a foundation built on lies cannot stand," I said softly. "And I don't live in condemned buildings." They dragged them out through the crowd. The guests parted like the Red Sea. No one said a word to them. After the police left, the party was effectively over, but nobody left. My friends, my true friends, came up to the platform. Some were crying. Some shook my hand. I picked up the power of attorney document from the podium. I ripped it in half. Then I ripped it again, and again, until it was just confetti. I let the pieces fall to the floor. The next day, I didn't sell the house. I kept it. But I made some changes. I fired the staff Julian had hired. I sued Dr. Eris, and with Marcus's help, we got his medical license revoked and sent him to prison for 3 years for writing fake prescriptions. As for Julian and Clara, the evidence was overwhelming. The video of the stove, arson attempt. The pills, poisoning. They are currently serving 10 years in a state penitentiary. I live alone now, but I am not lonely. I turned the guest wing of my estate into a workshop for young apprentices who want to learn carpentry and architecture. I teach them how to build things that last. I teach them how to pour a foundation that won't crack. And I teach them the most important lesson of all: watch the people closest to you. Because sometimes, the termite that eats the house is already living inside the walls. My name is Elias Thorne. I am 73 years old. And I am just getting started.